Hi, I'm Nawal and welcome to Mamas and Papas Show. This episode we talk post-baby weight, look into the lives of parents with autistic children. We then discuss traveling with your family. And lastly, we deal with issues of intimacy. For any woman, the pressure to look good and maintain your figure is not easy. For me, dieting and staying in shape is a constant struggle that was made even harder by my pregnancy. Everywhere we turn, there are pictures of celebrities, setting difficult goals for women. There are times when we all want to do is just to let go and care about nothing. However, before you tuck into your next ice cream, take a look at this.
I'll be honest with you, working in the line of work that I work in, you fall pregnant, you gain a bit of weight, and the baby is born, and everyone's watching. Everyone's watching. Everyone's on some, oh my gosh, what a big mistake. She's going to be a fat mom. She's going to be this, she's going to be that. There's a lot of pressure.
I had no complications during my pregnancy, and I am a size 30, and when I got pregnant, while I was pregnant, I went up to a size 38. So I went 8 sizes up, and I was huge. I felt humongous.
Some women are predisposed to gaining more weight than others during pregnancy and having bigger babies. But having said that, it doesn't mean that because your mom put on a lot of weight that you will necessarily also put on a lot of weight. Your needs do go up when you're pregnant. You do want to eat more, you do need to drink more, but if you make the right food choices and the right lifestyle choices, like for example exercising, then you can control an element of that as well.
The complications that can arise due to weight gain in pregnancy are, for example, hypertension, diabetes, and also relating to the baby can be big, and that can contribute in a negative way during delivery of the baby.
Obviously, if you're putting on more weight than you have to, you are putting an extra load on your body, and that will increase in the number of pregnancy-related complaints like lower back pain, upper back pain, and then what can also happen is there's an increased pressure on your pelvic floor, so any pelvic floor related complications are also, there's an increased chance of that as well because of the increased pressure on your pelvic floor. And then you're also predisposing yourself to more medical complications such as high blood pressure in pregnancy, which can then complicate into a condition called preeclampsia. You can also then develop gestational diabetes, which is diabetes that you get in pregnancy. So there are both health and mechanical risks.
It was tough, and I was not used to being that big, size 38. The biggest I had ever been was size 34, and that was when I was in high school. So there has been a gap of me being a size 30, and all of a sudden I'm a size 38. But then eventually the weight just started shedding by itself, and I didn't even go to gym.
Because if your main focus is going to be people that are talking about you and how you've gained weight and this and this and that and the other, you're going to lose focus, right? You will lose focus. Hence, you're going to eat, be depressed and eat and then put on more weight. So block out all the pressure points. Cut them out. It's not about them. It's about you, your life and your baby. Focus on your bundle of joy. It's a happy place to be in. Enjoy it.
To be a winner on Mamas and Papas, all you have to do is to follow the instructions on the bottom of your screen.
What's your favorite vegetable?
Cheese. The yellow things that it's healthy for me.
Autism is a lifelong, complex condition which has genetic and environmental origins. Welcome to the guests. Jill, would you mind to tell us about, Autism Rainbow Month?
Yes, the United Nations declared the 2nd of April as World Autism Awareness Day, but unfortunately that falls on Easter Friday, so we've, as Autism South Africa, we've decided to try and enhance awareness of autism throughout the whole month of April, a rainbow is a spectrum of colours, and autism is considered to be a spectrum condition because it manifests in so many ways. So we thought the two went together well.
Devin, your little one, you said, you know, he's about 7.
Yes, he is.
Can you just sort of like describe the kind of, you know, character that he sort of like display when he's actually with, you know, with the family and when he's actually in, you know, exposed to the general public?
Okay. What I can tell you is that he's probably the most loving little boy that you're ever likely to meet. I mean, he meets people for the first time, and he doesn't really distinguish between strangers and people that he knows really well. So for him, most women represent what his mother represents to him. Most men represent what his dad represents to him. So he's very lovable. He's very loving. He shows lots of affection to kids and to adults alike. I think where the difference comes in is his speech is very delayed. Yeah. So when we say he's 7 years old, he obviously doesn't talk the way a 7-year-old little boy should talk. So that becomes a challenge, and which he's not aware of. And we've obviously got to sensitize to a point without creating a stigma for him, that, you know, he obviously has some challenges which are unique to him.
What should actually one or a parent, you know, who has got a little one or maybe just given birth, you know, look for, especially if you want to get an understanding if your child has got those signs or characteristics, you know, of autism? What should you actually want look out for?
Well, Noel, I think, you know, as a parent, we were very fortunate in having somebody that studies behavioral tendencies in children and adults pick that up for us. Unfortunately, there is no, you know, sign that tells you that you possibly got an autistic child. I mean, Noah didn't display any unusual behaviors as a little boy from any other little boy. It's only some of the things that Jill has mentioned that you start to notice once you've been told, look, there's a potential here that somebody, you know, you maybe need to look at having him assessed in some way.
That's actually a very, you know, hectic one, because you can actually imagine, you know, that you just go around and you think that your child is, you know, perfect, and now you come to the issue of schools. You don't even know where to take your little one to, because every school, or maybe most of the school, will say, well, your child has got a, you know, a bit of a challenge when it comes to, you know, the behavior. And where do you take the child? I know that, you know, Nini, you actually engage a lot with those children.
Yes, I come from the Key School. Our schools specialize in children with autism. It is an autism-specific school, but obviously we do take other children who have some symptoms or tendencies of autism. But obviously we need to have an assessment done in a child first. So we need to get a group of multidisciplinary team, which is the speech therapist, the occupational therapist, the psychologist, and the doctors, the pediatrician, the neuropediatrician, to do those assessments and then give us a formal assessment that a child has got autism. And then we take the child on board, and then we sort of offer educational intervention that is suitable for each child, because each child that has autism is different from another. So you can't have one package that is suitable for all.
For all, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, goodness. Yeah. I mean, you just think about it, that when do you then as a parent, you know, start saying, okay, am I chances, you know, those kind of thing, you're pregnant and you want to know, am I actually carrying a child with autism? When do you know, actually, when you're still pregnant, and when are children born autistic, or you find out later?
Well, basically, they don't exactly know the cause yet, but they do believe it is a genetic predisposition with environmental triggers. So, no, you don't particularly know. In hindsight, a lot of parents say that, like my son, battled with a lot of sensory issues, which is very common in autism. But when your baby's a baby, and especially when it's your first, you don't know what it is, and the awareness amongst the medical fraternity definitely needs uplifting. But I would say most parents, the children are diagnosed between sort of 2 to 5, which is quite late.
2 to 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay. The other thing I want to ask you, Gary, men, we always worry about the budget and the money.
Yes.
Does your medical aid cover everything, all your therapies and all your medical stuff that you need for an autistic kid?
Well, initially, a lot of it is through trial and error. So when he was diagnosed at 18 months, we didn't know what the initial cost outlay would be for things like therapy and so forth. So as time has gone on, with experience, we've learned how to budget things. Obviously, with my organization that I work for, I've had to sort of go to the most expensive medical aid scheme that they have, and like I share, light-hearted moments with friends and family, and I say none of us are allowed to get ill, because the majority of the scheme funds goes towards his therapy. So if it can be put off, then it will. If we can treat something with a home remedy, then we do that.
Okay. Jill, I just want to ask you, going back to your first question, you said that autistic children are being born like that. What goes wrong in a pregnancy? The child are being born with autistic manners.
Like I said, they don't particularly know the cause as yet. They do believe there is a genetic predisposition, but they haven't found a common gene that runs through all children with autism. So they believe there are different predispositions for autism. And the environmental factors, they're also trying to establish what they are. So it could be something in pregnancy, it could be something postnatal. They still haven't quite got there yet. So at this point, no one can really answer that.
Do they have any medication or any diet that they actually restricted to take?
Well, not all of them. It depends on what problems would be coming out from the child. Sometimes if your child is showing like difficult behavioral problems, then you would take that child to a doctor, and then they would suggest that maybe if you sort of remove some of the substances that are found in food, like usually it's gluten-free and casein-free diets that they put them on, it sort of calms them down and make them focus more in class, and also reduce those level of anxiety, and then you can get out more educationally or academically from them. But it's not all of them that benefit from that. It depends from one child to another.
And Nini, what do you teach them? Is there a syllabus that you follow with all these autistic kids?
Well, we sort of do a revised national curriculum. So from the national curriculum, we do focus on the curriculum that is designed for children with special education needs. But at the same time, we do not do all the learning areas in the curriculum. We focus on numeracy and literacy, because obviously my group in the school is the only academic class, and they are not at the same level as their other peers in class. So my boys are like age 7 up to 9. So I sort of do pre-literacy skills and pre-numeracy skills just to introduce them into learning how to count, how to read and write, but they're functioning below the national curriculum level.
For those of you at home who would like to, ask the panel, and to engage more with them, especially on this issue that we were talking about on, autism and related questions, please go to our website and log on to www.mamasandpapasmeg.co.za. And thank you so much to our wonderful panel, and we hope to see you shortly. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So tell me, have you ever been on a plane and the baby just sitting behind you cried non-stop?
I think that's one of your worst nightmares to ever think about. When those mama and papas, they come down that passage there, you start praying, don't sit behind me, don't sit behind me. But the kids can't help it. It's the altitude that changes, the pain in the ears. And they say you must actually give the baby a dummy or something to suck on, and it will help him not to scream like that. But have you ever been in the car, and also in like 2 years and they start fighting behind you, and they don't stop fighting, and your blood is boiling? Have you ever done that long trip from Johannesburg to Cape Town with them to bring you back to earth?
That's actually a very interesting one. Here is some advice on traveling with your little ones.
If you have impossible kids at home and you're going to go on that long car trip, you can tell them anything and they'll just demand more. You can put a DVD in that back seat, they're going to get bored, they're going to want something else. And then they're going to want something else. Or they'll ask a million questions. So if you've got a relatively stable home with fairly calm kids who do take responsibility, etc., it does make that trip much easier.
The best is to try and distract your child. For young babies, you can use a pacifier or a bottle. For older children, try and distract them with some games or music. If the child won't settle, don't take them out the seatbelt. The best thing is to stop at a safe place, take them out the car, settle them, and once they've settled, put them back into the car, buckle up and carry on going. This particular product is called the Securikid, and it's a replacement for the booster seat, and it's particularly good for kids over the age of 3 and for special needs kids like mine who don't like to sit in the car seat. It's very easy to install. You grab your safety belt, put it through like this. This can permanently stay on the belt, so you don't have to install it every time, and it's easy to take on and off, so you can swap it between mom and dad's car. You put it through like that, and you clip it in so that your child wears the safety belt like an adult would. It takes the safety belt away from their neck and ensures that they're wearing it in the correct manner, so in the event of an accident they are safe and sound in your car. This particular product is called an Easy Sleeper. It's a South African made product and it's endorsed by chiropractors. It's basically to prevent your child from their heads moving around when they're sleeping. Sorry, he does like it, he's just tired. You put it around your child like this, and when they fall asleep, then their head doesn't move forward and doesn't move around, and it's comfortable for them and it prevents any neck damage from when they're sleeping.
There are trained staff usually on aeroplanes that will come if they feel it is disturbing other passengers, try and pacify the child, or mom generally will be asked just to go to the back of the plane and I'll help you. I think those staff are pretty well trained in how to help parents to deal with that situation. They're not alone in that aeroplane regarding the staff of the aeroplane, and if the child is going to get out of hand. I think normally they would take that child or with a mom to the back of the plane or a bit out of the way, because it can be very irritating.
I think a parent that's taking a child on a long-haul flight, it would be very important for them to go and see their doctor before they go and discuss it with the doctor, because there are medications that you can use to sedate the children on the flight. And sometimes something as simple as Stopain syrup at a normal dose would be enough to just sedate the child, enough that they would sleep.
5. 50 years. He was 13.
Rian, you and Michelle are expecting a bambino soon.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
But how do you, keep the flame going?
You know, it's very important to keep the flame going in pregnancy and also after that. You know, this is maybe a very weird thing I'm going to say, but you just realize how many affairs are happening with people when their wives are pregnant.
Yes.
It happens a lot, and that's why Michelle and myself, we work on it to feel sexy for each other. Yes. I go to gym every day, I look after myself, always well dressed. You know, a woman, they pick up weight, but you always got to tell her how pretty she are, and she's beautiful and what she does. And what I also do a lot is we go away. I would book us for a weekend, and we'll have a special weekend where we have spa massages and just do lovely things. Go away for a whole week and take a break like an holiday time. So now, while it's very important to keep that intimacy in a relationship.
That's lovely. If you think your self-image has changed and you think it is affecting your intimacy with your partner, take a look at this.
One of the biggest problems with becoming a mother from being a lover is that you have to go make this change into being two things to two people. So you're now the baby's mother and the father's lover. And what you have to do in order to get the balance is to ensure that you keep your love life a priority, that child doesn't become everything and that the father gets ignored. You have got to give the father attention almost as much as you would the child. And if you make sure that that baby is trained right and is not brought into your bed and doesn't become everything to you, the balance is actually quite easy to get. I think once a woman has a child, her image of herself changes quite significantly, and I know that in my case I battled for years to come to terms with it. because you no longer see yourself as this goddess, as the lover that this husband fell in love with. What you become is this child's mother, and it's very, very hard to be sexy when you've just had to deal with nappies and bottles and, you know, white drool down your shoulders. So it's quite hard to make that change, but you've got to keep it in the forefront of your mind all the time that you are still gorgeous and sexy, regardless of the fact that your body has gone through all these changes and the hormones inside you are busy screaming. You need to give yourself time also to heal and to feel sexy again. I think the reason that people don't want to have sex after they've had a child is because the body goes through a huge trauma. And one of the things that nobody ever told me about childbirth was that it was really messy. And it was very difficult to move from seeing yourself go through that trauma back into having an intimate relationship with your husband again. The other thing is that doctors don't tell you when you can start having sex again. And if you've torn or if you've got stitches, you're not quite sure whether it's going to be painful, you don't know whether you can go there or not, you don't know when to. And you know, you've just got to take the leap. And for that 6 weeks while you're busy healing, you need to actually still keep the intimacy alive. And you may not have penetrative sex, but there are lots of other ways to keep the intimacy alive. Fathers, one of the things you can do in order to get the zing back in your relationship is to make your wife feel desired. Nothing makes us feel sexier or our libido come back quicker than a husband who we truly believe desires us. And it's really that simple. The other thing you can do is that having a child is exhausting, and you have to actually help. You have to make sure that at some stage you take away the feeding or the changing of the nappy or the bathing, just to give her 10 minutes to go and have a little lie down or to relax for herself. She really does need that. But if you can make her feel desired, she will get her zing back. Two of the greatest tips I can give you in terms of feeling sexy again is that it's two very simple things. The first is to wear high heel shoes, because it changes the way you move, it changes your shape, it brings the girls out to play, it gives an S bend to your leg, gives your leg length, and instantly you will feel sexy. And the second thing you can do is to wear red lipstick. Nothing makes a girl feel sexier than wonderful, succulent red lips. I think that sex changes. It changes from the relationship you had when you were 16. It changes when you're 30. The wonderful thing about sex is it gets better as you get older. So the more intimate your relationship, the better for you, the better the sex gets. I think that it's wonderful that you understand each other's bodies, and you actually have to speak about it, because there's very little point in having bad sex for the rest of your life.
Join me again next week as we discuss everything from natural feeding, fertility, paternity leave, and multiple births. Goodbye.